Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Art of MMA. Of course, I'm Mike Ginn. That's the mechanic, Brandon Cuttino. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit. We'll recap real quick about Bellator 273, Eagle FC, all that took place last weekend. We'll look into a little bit more introspective subjects like, does Khabib respect women in MMA? We'll talk about the whole mess that's going on between Cyborg and Zingano. And, of course, Ali Abdelaziz doing what he does, kind of poking the bear, seeing what's up between Usman and Adesanya. We'll give our thoughts on all that. We'll make our picks for UFC Vegas 47 coming up with Hermansson and Strickland this weekend. But before we get to that, of course, this show brought to you by FightersFirst.shop. Go ahead and get all the latest, greatest merch. We got some really dope stuff in there, some new collections, some new shirts. So check out all that stuff. FightersFirst.shop. And, of course, Brandon rocking that Talk Less, Fight More. I got the Bruce Lee shirt on today, the legendary. Kind of hard to see with the darkness in the camera, but it is awesome, and everybody loves it. So go ahead and get yourself one. Go ahead, FightersFirst.shop. Go to Fighters First Network, where you're watching this right now. Hit like, hit subscribe, and tell the world why I'm better than Brandon, because I'm now 4-0. The lead dog continues.
All right.
New year, new me. Let's go. You ready to start the show, Brandon?
Yeah, man. I just want to show, man. The only picks that I'm missing are just the main and co-main. My normal.
Those are the main picks, Brandon.
My extra picks. I'm winning those.
The extra picks are like extra. That's why they're called extra picks, Brandon. You're missing the ones that actually count. And then, of course, I've now 2 weeks in a row had my fight canceled out. Almost the third week in a row because I did actually pick a fight that's already been changed. So now I got to change. So you'll see that later on when we make our picks, find out who I'm talking about. But, Brandon, before we get into everything today, man, we had some exciting action last weekend, too. Bellator 273, we saw the heavyweight title unification. Over at Eagle FC, we saw Tyrone Spong get kind of upset, but I don't know if it was really that big of an upset because he fought an opponent much bigger than him. What'd you think about all the action that we took place last weekend? What were some of your highlights?
Yeah, man, Bellator was good. I enjoyed the prelims. Like I said, my pick that I had called Lucas did his thing. He got that nice submission. Sorry about Big Tuna, man. Like I was thinking about going with that fight, but I kind of knew that he was gonna get steamrolled, and that's what happened when he went up against the wrestler Coley.
Yeah, he was in a little bit over his head.
Yeah. So, but I mean, hey, man, it was good fights. Hey, Ryan Bader still did his thing. You're saying it was a tough fight.
Real quick on that Big Tuna thing. I mean, as much as I have a little bit of like little friction with Christian Edwards, it was also kind of a lucky punch he caught him with last time too. So, I mean, there is no lucky punches in MMA, but they fought 9 out of 10 times. It might be a different result, but congrats getting that win. And then of course, Coley's just on his way up the chart.
Yeah. So. But going on with the main event, man, Ryan Bader, did his thing, man. Hey, he's letting you know heavyweight is his division. Like you said, heavyweight is where he wants to be. Like I said,
he just looks more comfortable.
Yeah, I definitely had it 2-2 going to the fifth round. Fifth round was close. Hey, they like the damage that he did in that round. So hey, I got no problem giving it to Bader. The one I kind of do have a problem with is that co-main event, Benson Henderson. I don't know. I like Bendo, but I'm not sure if he really got it. He might have had some home cooking with the judges. And
I honestly thought both the main and co-main event could have gone either way.
Yeah,
but I didn't think either one was clear cut.
Yeah, but hey, though they were both entertaining fights. I really enjoyed it. Saying Bendo with his sub attempts. That guillotine definitely did look a little tight. In the first round. But hey, like I said, it was a good fight all in all. Darian Caldwell, man, I don't know what's up with that guy, man. He looked good the first 2 rounds, and that third round, like he just gassed out and he was done. But that was really it. I mean,
I think it was a case of just Barzola's pressure all fight long. Like he didn't really go backwards. He kept coming after him.
Yeah, and then plus 2, then on Friday night, man, Eagle FC, you know me, man. I'm a big fan of Sugar Rashad Evans. He's one of my favorite fighters. So I was definitely happy that he got the dub. And then Ray Borg, man, just out there just so proving, he's still one of the top guys. Like I say, man, just because you're not in the UFC doesn't mean that you're not a top guy. Like I said, man, he just had a lot of bad things going on in his life at that time. He got glass in the eye from the whole Khabib Conor incident. He had the whole thing with his baby and everything like that. But now, man, it looks like everything's good with him and his family. And you saw what happened. He went out, got that W, took care of business.
Yeah, that whole glass in the eye thing, back and forth. He had glasses on, still got caught. That was the whole thing. But what happened with his family stuff was a little bit more serious, and definitely, glad to see he's bouncing back. I don't wish it on anybody. Over in that main event, though, Kharitonov, he just basically mounted Spong. Once he got him down there, you could see that weight difference. There was nothing Spong could do. He tried to buck out. He tried to sweep. He doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu in the world. Obviously, he's a world-class striker. But once he got to the ground, it was all Kharitonov, and he just, smothered him. Got in great position, moved up in full mount, and just hammered him a couple times.
Spong, baby, please come back to glory, man. There's heavyweights there for you, baby. Get that rematch.
He looked fast. He looked fast. He looked quick, strong. His strikes were sharp. His kicks were sharp because he's been boxing the last couple years. He looks like he could definitely step right back in that glory kickboxing. But I think he actually wants to continue with Eagle FC. I think he wants to keep doing a few MMA. I think he wants to do boxing. I think he wants, following the money trail, right? Exactly. He's a prize fighter.
Baby, we prize fighters.
They'll fight wherever they want. Eagle FC put on a decent show. Not a lot of production value, but it was their first show in America. They're not used to the audience and the pizzazz, right? Like the showmanship. That's not really Khabib's thing anyway. Khabib's more like show up to the ring, fight, go about your business.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chael's son and Henry Cejudo, man. I thought they did a good job being color commentators.
Chael annoyed me. Chael annoyed me a lot because he was wrong and he kept repeating the wrong thing. Like when Spong got taken down in the first, right? He tried to throw a leg kick and got kind of caught and pushed, right? Mm-hmm. And he kept calling it a slip. And I was like, Spong didn't slip. He was throwing a leg kick, and Kharitonov pushed him. Of course, he was on one leg, so he went down. Cejudo called it that. Usman called it that. Who was the main announcer? I forget.
I believe it's Cyrus. I think that's
Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus called it that. Chael kept saying it looked like a slip, and no matter how many times he saw the replay, every time he's like it was a slip, and everybody at home knew it wasn't a slip. Everybody watching, but he kept going because that's who Chael is. He just keeps repeating with his truth, and if you say it enough, I guess it becomes true. But everybody else kept correcting, and he just kept on saying it, and it was just annoying the crap out of me. I did like Usman on the play-by-play. I thought Cejudo was fantastic. I didn't really like Cejudo's interviewing because I thought he was more kissing the fighter's ass instead of interviewing because he is all their friends. He does train with all these guys. So, it's a very tight-knit with him, Khabib, a lot of the Black Zillions and stuff, all of them kind of friendly. So, and then also they did make the official announcement that the Black Zillions are officially, coming together. Rashad Evans is bringing it back, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure Tyrone Spong, maybe even Usman might be involved because they're all buddy best friends. So we'll see what's up with that. But I thought Eagle FC put on a decent card. Their next card's in Russia, and then they're coming right back to the United States for 46. I think in 2 months. I think they're running
the Kevin Lee Diego Sanchez fight, right? March 11th.
Yep, and I think they're running an event every month. So see how they keep rolling. It does kind of run us into our first segment, but real quick on my thoughts on Bellator. I want to get your thoughts real quick on Benson Henderson. He made the comment afterward that it might be his last fight. But then later on, he kind of clarified it's the last fight on his Bellator contract. He kind of underpriced himself in the contract because he didn't perform up to what they paid him. So he doubt they'll pay him that same amount again. And then he kind of left the door open to maybe go fight in a different promotion. What do you think the future is for Benson Henderson? Is this it, or is he going to go fight somewhere else?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. It looked like he maybe was kind of getting ready to retire because it's like you're in Arizona. You saw his kids, his wife was there, like the whole family was there inside the cage. It was looking a little sus. Like I don't know, man. Maybe if he took the L, maybe that could have happened. But I mean, I can still see him staying with Bellator. Like I said, he's still a name. Especially too if you're doing shows in Arizona. He could bring a crowd to you.
You always say PFL. You think he'll hop over PFL, make a run at that million?
I mean, he could too. Like I said, to me, the thing I like is that, man, he has options. He
could be Jeremy Stevens' ass.
He could. He could run it back with Anthony Pettis and maybe finally beat him.
That's a bad matchup for him because he loses every time.
Hey, hey man, he might want to finally get that one back, but. Like I said, man, to me, I think he still has options. Like I said, I think Bellator will be a good spot. I think PFL would love to have him. So I don't think he's done. And hey, you never know, man. Eagle FC is out here trying to make some noise as well. So
he actually mentioned Eagle FC too. So
yep.
A lot of options. And Khabib said if anybody needs a home to fight, that's where he can go. I think both cards were pretty entertaining. I really enjoyed a lot of the fights up to the main event and co-main event. in Bellator last weekend. I thought Eagle FC had a little bit of a hiccups here and there, but Ray Borg fight was definitely a highlight. Rashad Evans kind of just controlled Checo with his wrestling. Karatanov just smothered Spong. So one surprise, though, I will tell you, another former UFC fighter, Jorgen De Castro with that sub, the guillotine, he's not really known for his submissions. So for him to get a submission over Sean Asher was pretty impressive. So some cool stuff. They also had PFL vet Loic Radtabov in action too. He got a sub, a guillotine in the first round. So some cool stuff to watch. And of course, Eagle FC was free, so you can't hate on that. I signed up for it, streamed it on my big TV on the Roku. They have an app for that, the FLX Cast. So it's free. All you do is sign up. They haven't even sent me any spam emails, so I love it. It's good. Real quick before we hop into it, who's your Super Bowl pick, the Bengals or the Rams?
Rams.
Back in OBJ?
Yeah, I'm an NFC guy all the way anyway. But yeah, OBJ, let him get his ring. Let Matthew Stafford get his ring. You know, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. It's stacked out there, baby.
You know, they kind of remind me a lot of the Bucs last year, where the Bucs brought in all that talent at every position, and then all of a sudden they won the Super Bowl. It's kind of the same thing. I think the Rams have kind of followed that playbook. They got the quarterback. They got, the OBJ, Von Miller throughout the season. They got people coming back healthy. The only person missing is Robert Woods. So they're pretty set up for success. So we'll see what happens in the Super Bowl. I like the Bengals story, though. They've never done it. Could be time, but Rams trying to win it at home the same way that the Bucs did last year. So we'll see.
Plus with the Rams, man, they're kind of jacking some pro wrestling on their little saying. So that's why I'm rocking with them as well. You know, whose house, Rams house? You mean whose house, Swerve's house over here? You know, Isaiah Swerve Scott
or whatever. Is he going by a kill shot again?
Yeah, he might. I think he is doing Sean Strickland.
Yeah, that's his real name, and then kill shot was his gimmick in Lucha Underground. So. That's enough non-MMA talk, so people don't all tune out. Brandon, you ready to get to this show?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. The reason we talk so much about Eagle FC is because it leads us into our first segment. Quite honestly, this has been a subject since at least 2018, maybe even longer. Does Khabib Nurmagomedov respect women in mixed martial arts? We've heard talks of like a person like GSP, right? He took a lot of heat years ago because he didn't like seeing women in MMA. But that was because he didn't like seeing women fight. He didn't like seeing – he grew up, women are protected, women are, cherished. He doesn't want to see them beating each other up. That's one angle, but obviously women have a right to fight just like men do. They have very high skill levels just like men do. And Brandon, the king of lady fighters, he's all about it. You know that. Many women, whether it's kickboxing, MMA, very high-level women, right? Julianna Pena, of course, famously upset Amanda Nunes not too long ago. Big deal. Khabib launches Eagle FC in America. Of course, one of the first questions is, are you going to have women in Eagle FC? Are you going to, because that whole card last weekend was all men. Will there be women featured? He said, probably not. He said there's only like 5 or 6 good ones in the world. He'd rather see them wrestling or boxing in the Olympics. He said comments in the past where they need to go home. If they want to smash something, go home and smash their husband. They don't belong in the ring or the cage in a professional level. Now, Khabib is from a part of the world where for a long time, and I'm not going to say still because I'm not over there. I'm not seeing it day to day. But for a long time, women were in the house, right? The culture is strict. They were covered up. They were in the house. They weren't seen. They weren't heard. They just did their marital role, and that was it. And that's how Khabib was brought up. Recently, Julianna Pena won. Khabib made the comments. I'm like, we can watch Julianna Pena did with Amanda Nunes, but Julianna Pena, she is not like the greatest or something like that. She just beat Amanda Nunes like on that day. We can watch not many good female fighters all around the world. There are only like 5 or 6 of them. And of course, Julianna Pena took that kind of personally because, she's the brand new bantamweight champ, wants a little respect on her name. But like I said, Khabib's been making these comments forever. So I'm going to pitch this to you, Brandon. One, do you think we will ever see women in Eagle FC? Because Dana once for a long time said there wouldn't be any women until Ronda Rousey came along. And B, do you think he even respects women in MMA?
I mean, hey, you never know. Like he said probably not. So when you say probably in there, there's still that leaves you a little wiggle room where maybe you could see a woman fighter in there. I mean, remember there's a couple of years ago he was bashing ring girls, man. He didn't think ring girls needed to be there. You know, there's no need for them. So I mean, I'm not really like thrown off by hearing this. I just thought, it's the same old thing. Like when you talked about.
Now you mentioned that, I don't think I saw any ring girls at UFC either. But go ahead.
Yeah, but again, it's like you say, he is from a different country, they have different beliefs, so that's him. It's his promotion. He can run it how he wants. I'm saying, hey, you even look at the Bellator card that just happened. There were no women fights on that card either. So it's just how it is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of do believe him kind of what he said. Like there really isn't like that many high women. Like to me, like Khabib has a different thought process on high level. Like yeah, there can be good people, but he to me wants high level. Like he's talking about like Cyborg's only, Nunes is only, Holly Holm only, Ronda Rousey's only. He's
no
not
disrespect. He didn't have any high level. I mean, Spong was high level in a different combat sport, but he didn't have any really high level talent on the card he had last weekend.
Hey man, I just told you, man. Ray Borg is still a top guy. Just because he's not in the UFC, don't mean he's not a top guy.
But he's never been a champion. He's never been a champion. Rashad Evans has been retired for years. Spong has been out of MMA forever. Karatanov is a veteran, but he's not like a star. He brought over some good talent, but like you just said, good versus great. He brought over some good talent, really good talent, but they weren't great.
Yeah, but I said, but we all know what Eagle FC is anyway. Eagle FC is just for dominance guys to get fights. That's really what Eagle FC is about. It's not about how many people. So I mean, it's no biggie. That's why to me it's no big deal. That's why Eagle FC is Eagle FC. I'm not really looking for the best people. If there's no women in there, that's all right, man. I go to Bellator. I go to Invicta. I go to UFC to watch the lady fights. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. He has every right to put who he wants in his promotion to fight. I don't think he respects women in MMA. He's never really shown that he has. I'm not sure if we want to take it even bigger that he even has respect for women in general, but that's a more personal conversation that I'm not ready to have. That's just my personal beliefs. You come from that era, Dagestan. Russia tends to be more promoting women, but Dagestan is kind of more heavily Muslim, almost more Middle Eastern in the way they kind of treat a lot of that stuff. So I don't think we'll ever see women in Eagle FC. I don't think we'll see ring girls. I don't see any of that like flash and pizzazz. I think it's just going to be straight up people coming to the ring. They want to do a little dance, a little showing off on their way. That's up to them. But it's pretty much get to the action. That's how Khabib always was with his career. I don't think he wants it any different.
Hey, man, just like FTR, man, no flips, just fists. That's what Eagle FC is about.
And I think you're right. Dominance. I think Ali has his hands deep in this one. I think he has his hands deep in just about everything going on right now. Everything that's happening on the American side, I think, has a lot to do with Ali Abdelaziz. I think he put together pretty much his entire card. He does have a little of experience from the World Series of Fighting thing. He got in trouble with that for a little bit of conflict of interest as well as other things. But we'll see. I don't think he respects women. I don't think he respects Julianna Pena. I think he might be polite to their face, but even then, I don't think he's going to bullshit. I think he's just kind of the person who's like, I don't respect you. What do you want from me? I don't. And that's just kind of go about his business. I think the world's changed. I think Khabib either catch up or fall behind. I think some of the women fights are some of the most exciting fights we have on any card. We've seen them main event UFC cards. We've seen them main event Cyborg and stuff, main event Bellator cards. You just talked about off air, Glory 80 just adding Tiffany Van Soest. That's a big fight. So I think women are everywhere right now, and he can respect it or not. I don't think it's comparison between men and women. I think that's an outdated subject. I think women have every right to be at the table and every right to be in the conversation with best fighters across the board, despite their gender. So that's my thoughts on it. But let's transition to the next subject. Speaking of Ali Abdelaziz, we had long since thought that Kamaru Usman he talked about it, right? He was going to jump 185 and possibly take on the light heavyweight champion at 205. Whether it's Glover, whether it was Jan at the time, possibly even Yuri coming up now because he's fighting Glover soon. Then Ali comes out, kind of poking the bear because, of course, he manages Kamaru Usman as well. Ali Abdelaziz says, I don't think he actually really even likes Israel Adesanya that much. We could see that super fight if of course, the key words, like you said, if the money is right. Now, I know your thoughts on it, but go ahead and tell the fans at home. Do you think we'll see Usman versus Adesanya? And if they did theoretically match up, who do you think would have the advantage?
One, don't think the fight is happening. Like you said, man, dude, they're boys. Those two, Ngannou, representing Africa, African champions. Like I said, that's why Usman talks about moving up to 205 to fight the champion there, because he's not trying to mess with Adesanya. He wants Adesanya to stay champion. They want those guys to dominate. Now, if Adesanya was to move up to 205, became champion there, drop the 185 belt, then that'd be a different story. Then Usman, of course, would definitely move up for that. But I just don't think that would happen. And if they did fight, I would pick Izzy all day over Usman. I like Usman. I like Izzy, but I think Izzy would just pick him apart because I think Usman will fall in love thinking, hey, I can strike, hanging out with Trevor Whitman, but I think he would get pieced up easily by Adesanya.
I would never say never as far as the fight happening because money talks, bullshit walks. I mean, if there's enough money on the table for a super fight, I don't think either one of those guys would say no. They'd be respectful about each other the whole fight camp. They'd come up to each other, shake each other's hands. Let's go to battle. They don't train together. They might be friendly at press events. They might be friendly at events, fight events, but they do not train together. So putting hands on each other, I don't think is a big deal. Now, we do know Adesanya is moving to America. He's pissed off about everything happening in New Zealand. So maybe they do train together a little bit here. I don't know what his camp's plans are. I know he's talking about opening the city kickboxing here in America, but I don't think it's happened yet. I think a lot of that stuff is still up in the air, still being figured out. Of course, right now he's busy training for the Robert Whittaker rematch coming up soon. I don't think it will happen either. I know I've heard more talk about Usman going to 205 than I have heard him talk about 185. I don't think Ali would come out the cuff without Usman knowing he was about to say it. It's kind of like how we talked about how Dana White and the ESPN raising pay-per-view prices. Dana put that all on ESPN, just like you said. It was probably an ESPN decision. I don't think it happens without Dana saying, okay, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. I just don't think it happens without that. They might have made the decision, but I think the other person has to be aware. And I think in this case, it's the same thing. Ali's not going to go out there and put his fighter on the spot. So now, guess what? Every interview Usman does from now on, what do you think about the Adesanya fight? Right? That's going to be the first question coming up because of Ali. So I think he knew about it, and I think he was okay with it. And maybe he didn't want to be the one to plant the seeds against Adesanya because they are friends. But if his manager does it, then okay, well, yeah, I mean, I could see that happening. So I wouldn't put it out and never say never. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon unless the money is right. And if they did match up, I think it's really a first for a second round. We've seen Usman come out a lot of times the last couple fights. Masvidal, he put to sleep. Colby, he tried to kind of strike with early. Before that, Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns and Masvidal both got some good shots in on him. And if they're fighting a top-level striker like Adesanya in the first round and he tries to stand and exchange with him, then Usman's going to sleep. But if Usman then all of a sudden adjusts his game plan and makes it to the second round like he tends to do, then it's a different story. He can wrestle him, lay on top of him, do what he wants to do, smash him up against the fence. And I think Usman would win that fight easily if he stuck to his wrestling, because we know he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. So that's my opinion on that one. But Brandon doesn't think it's happening. I probably don't think it's happening either. Next subject, kind of also talking about he said, she said, except this time it's she said, she said. We're talking about Cyborg and Cat Zingano. Brandon was super hyped up for this fight. He kept calling for it for a while. I thought it was a really cool fight based on the fact that Cyborg has kind of run through everybody else in Bellator as she's just fighting rematches at this point. Cat Zingano is one of the few people she hasn't faced before. It would be a fun new matchup. Personally, if it comes to picking that fight, I'm picking Cyborg all day. I don't think Cat can stand and bang with her. I think she's tough, but I don't think she can really do what Cyborg does. And Brandon, there's a huge height difference. I don't know if you noticed that. I think Cat's like 5'2", 5'3", and Cyborg is 5'8", 5'9". And it's just a huge height and reach advantage for Cyborg. But this week, Cat Zingano comes out and says Cyborg's running from testing. Cyborg says that she's never ducked a test. In fact, Cat's the one trying to move the fight back because she's not ready. Scott Coker kind of backed up Cyborg and said, yeah, Cat Zingano's camp has wanted to move the fight back. So I got a two-part question for you. One, do you think, well, who do you believe in this story that he said, or she said? Whose side are you believing? Because there's truth somewhere probably in the middle. And two, do you think we'll have this fight? And I'll even throw a third one in there after you answer these first two.
Hey man, I mean, I love me some Cat Zingano. But I gotta back my girl Cris Cyborg on this one. I'm believing her because again, Scott Coker came out and kind of really backed her up too. He said, hey, we want to make this fight happen, but we want to do it, of course, when Zingano is ready, when she's able to fight. So to me, it doesn't look like Zingano is ready to fight or able to fight. I don't know. I know she's had some health issues, I think, with her knee and also too some other things going on. But I'm just going with that. Do I think this fight will happen? Yes, because Cyborg wants it, Zingano wants it, Scott Coker wants it. So the promotion wants it, the fighters want it. It's just about when is it going to happen?
So one, I don't believe Cat Zingano now wants that fight. I think she bit off more than she could chew. And as the fight got closer, I think she got a little bit of cold feet. Because I haven't heard about any injury concerns. I haven't heard anything wrong with Cat Zingano's camp. So for her to want to push the fight back, there's got to be some reason. And that clearly has not been said out loud. In fact, she's blaming Cyborg for pushing the fight back for avoiding testing. So from the outside perspective of unbiased, because I have a lot of respect for both women, I'm a fan of both women. I think Cat Zingano's kind of running in this case. But I think this opens the door for a possible third scenario, Brandon, or another scenario in this case, because we've talked about Cyborg versus a certain woman over in PFL who's a free agent, Kayla Harrison. We've talked about that. We've also talked about that maybe Kayla might be going back to PFL for another season because she isn't getting the money offers she wants from Bellator or UFC. PFL starts April 20th, but we know they only do a couple divisions at the time. So say in March, somebody takes a free agent offer for one fight, maybe fights Cyborg for that belt, win or lose, then all of a sudden starts off with PFL in April or late or early May. I mean, the timing could work out for Kayla where she could still take this fight here early in the spring. Cyborg could then fight Cat Zingano afterwards. I don't know. What do you think, Brandon?
I don't think it's happening because I think that's something Kayla Harrison did want, but I don't think Bellator or PFL are kind of into it. I could see Scott Coker, to me, Scott Coker has no problem doing co-promotion. So I could see them doing a co-promotion type deal because, like I say, you see how he has worked with Ryzen.
It wouldn't even need to be because she's a free agent right now. She hasn't signed with PFL.
She is, but I don't think they would sign her for a one fight deal. It would at least have to be at least be two fights. So you would get Cyborg. If you beat Cyborg, you get then that means Cyborg will the rematch. But
I can see that. I do think Cyborg. I think Scott has done a lot of things from Strikeforce to now, and even before that. I think he's done a lot of things for marquee value, and a one-off deal would not surprise me in the least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening, but I mean, hey, if it happens, it happens. But I would think that it would be more than just one fight. Like I said, she can do the one fight and then go to and then go to the PFL, do their tournament, and then after that come back. But again, that's still not a like one fight deal. Is going to be where the second fight is in there. It's just you're not doing that second fight right away. Yeah,
kind of. I mean, we've seen Scott Coker give people open deals before too. Mm-hmm. To do wrestling and MMA at the same time. So It wouldn't be unheard of for Scott to be like, all right, you fight this one fight. go do the PFL season, and then come back like you're talking about. I think that clearly could happen as well, especially because if they fight once, people are going to want to see the rematch no matter who wins. They're two of the top 4 or 5 women on the entire planet. Cyborg, clearly one of the GOATs in women's MMA. Amanda Nunes, now Julianna Pena in that conversation. Kayla Harrison. If you talk about boxing included, you're talking about Holly Holm and Clarissa Shields, who, by the way, Clarissa's talking about training with Henry Cejudo now too, working on her wrestling. I feel like we're probably going to see Cat Zingano and Cyborg sometime this spring. I don't know when. But it is interesting to think about, could Kayla Harrison kind of slide in now that there's an opening on the schedule without being stuck in a long commitment, because we know Scott would do a short-term deal. So we'll see what happens with that. But that is our thoughts on that one. Brandon, are you ready for the lead dog to continue his hot streak?
Yeah, let's see what happens this week. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about my picks.
All right. Well, going into UFC Vegas 47, Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermansson should be a very interesting matchup. Of course, I was going to pick against Sam Alvey, but your boy Phil Hall's dropped out on me, so that's now Brendan Allen. I don't really know how I feel about that one. So we'll just talk about the main event, co-main event, and then jump into our picks. I did come up with a new fight, so we'll get to that. But Jack Hermansson, longtime veteran. Sean Strickland, a fighter on the rise, quickly jumping up the rankings. Brandon, who you got in this fight, and tell us why?
I'm actually going with Sean Strickland on this fight. I mean, I'm a fan of Jack Hermansson. I usually probably would pick him, but I kind of just like to tear that Sean Strickland's on. I think Sean Strickland is just going to go forward. He's going to pressure Hermansson, which I think is what's going to wear Hermansson down, which we have seen in the past. And then I think Strickland is going to be able to finish him. You know what I'm saying? So this is a 5-round fight. I think his forward pressure is going to be too much for Hermansson, and he's going to get stopped.
My problem with this fight is Jack Hermansson doesn't fight to his strengths. The guy clearly has a submission advantage over top of Sean Strickland. We know that. It's not even a question. If he gets to the ground, Strickland's in trouble. But we saw in the Vettori fight that Hermansson didn't do that. He went toe-to-toe with Vettori for the entire fight instead of going to his strengths. I think Jack Hermansson's one of those dudes that can get drawn into a firefight. And in that case, I'm actually agreeing with you. I'm picking Sean Strickland too, because I think Sean Strickland's not going out trying to wrestle him to the ground. He showed against Uriah Hall that he can do takedowns and he can do wrestling. So he has that background. I think this is very similar to how Vettori fought Jack Hermansson. And I think Sean Strickland has a roadmap on how to beat him. And I think he's a way better striker than Vettori is. So I think Sean Strickland should win this one. I probably see it stopped in probably the second or third round, maybe even the first. I think if it gets into a firefight, I think Jack Hermansson's in a lot of trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Sean Strickland. I will say if it does get tangled up on the ground, Jack Hermansson definitely has a chance, though. He definitely has a chance if it gets to the ground. Over in the co-main event, we got Soriano versus Maximov. Who do you like in that one?
I'm going with Soriano. I know he lost in his last fight. But I think this is gonna be his bounce back fight. Saying both guys are finishers, you know. But I think that Soriano is just better, and I could see this probably being fight of the night. And then also too, I mean, it could be maybe a performance of the night for Soriano as well. So he could be getting 2 bonuses, not just one. Yeah,
I have a hard time when you look at a fight like this, right? One guy's 8-1, the other one's 7-0. You have a hard time picking against the undefeated fighter because, I mean, they've never lost. What does that look like, right? But his level of competition, he's only fought really a Dana White Contender Series and 1 UFC fight, which was a decision. So he wins. He finds a way to win. His first fight against Brundage wasn't very impressive, but he found a way to win. Then you got Soriano, who, yeah, he got decision against Brendan Allen, but Brendan Allen is a top-level fighter in that division. He's also a veteran. He's been around for a while. Soriano's got the age advantage over Maximov. He's 29. He's more experienced. He's fought tougher fighters. He knocked out Todorovic. He's been in the UFC now for a few fights. He's got a couple knockout wins. Mm-hmm. I hate to agree with you again, but I'm going with Soriano as well. So it's going to be hard for you to overtake me this week because we're on the same page of this one. It does happen, people at home once in a while. Brandon and I do agree occasionally. Whenever I'm right, he agrees with me. It's fine. So,
Right.
but I do agree. I think Soriano's probably got the striking advantage. And I don't think Maximov was overly impressive in his first fight or the Contender Series fight. He got decision wins and he did what he had to do. This fight will be very telling to see if he finds a way to win again. Because sometimes fighters like that, they don't have to be super impressive if they just find ways to win. And that's sometimes more impressive because they find ways against their skill set. So we'll see. What is your fight pick of the night to take a look at?
Man, you guys know what it is. Got to go with my boy Mike Trizano versus
Homer.
Exactly. I am Homer 100%. Mike Trizano versus Dawoodu. I think Trizano is going to go in there, get this W, and then next thing you know, he's going to be ranked in the top 15 of the featherweight division. I think after this W, the featherweight division will be put on notice, and everybody will be looking at the lone wolf. It's hunting season, baby. He's going hunting. It's
kind of heartbreaking for you, though, too, because you like Dawoodu, too.
I mean, I do. I mean, it's always. It's bound to happen when you see my teammates go up against guys I like. Hey, I saw it earlier when Dawoodu have fought Julio Arce. But hey, man, I'm always rocking with the team first.
Unbiasedly, I think that's going to be a very exciting matchup. I don't know really who I would probably pick in that one. I'm not going to say Dawoodu, but because I don't want to piss Brandon off. But I think it's going to be a fun fight. And it should be exciting. I think both guys come to bring it, so it's going to be a fun fight. My fight pick over on the main card, we saw Shavkat Rakhmonov last July. I mean, it's been a while. He fought last summer. He was very impressive, got a quick submission. He's fighting a very tough Carlston Harris, who's on a win streak as well. Rakhmonov is one of those undefeated fighters, fought a long time in Russia, came over. We saw him in the United States. He got a big win. Does he continue that? I mean, he's been off, or at least out of action in the United States for now 8 months, 7 months, 8 months. So that's kind of hard to say, but his skill set was so impressive that first time. He sat there and just absolutely dominated Prazeres. Like, it wasn't even a question. It only went 2 rounds. He got the rear naked choke, but he was dominating the whole fight. I think Prazeres caught him early, like in the first couple seconds of the fight, but that was it. And Carlston Harris, he's got some really good wins, but I'm taking Rakhmonov in this fight. I think it's going to be an exciting, fun fight to watch. Also on this card, you got, Alexis Davis in action. You got Miles John versus Castaneda is going to be a great fight. Julian Erosa versus Peterson. You got Trayshawn Gore and Brian Battle in a battle of up-and-coming fighters. The Brendan Allen versus Sam Alvey fight, like I said, I was going to pick Phil Halls over Sam Alvey. I still think Brendan Allen's probably going to win that fight, but he's coming in very last second, so you never really know when somebody's a last second, how their weight is and all that good stuff. There's a lot of solid veterans lower in this card and a lot of prospects higher in this card. So Dana and them are definitely showcasing more of the prospects up on the main card than some of the more name value fighters. Vanilla Gorilla, Jason Witt's down on the prelims against Phillip Rose. So a lot of good fights. Before we get off this, any other fights really kind of catch your eye?
I mean, I'm kind of really looking forward to the Brian Battle fight because, like I say, he's the Ultimate Fighter winner. So I'm always looking to see how those guys do. Like my boy Mike Trizano, a fellow Ultimate Fighter winner. So I'm rocking with those guys.
Yeah, that one's really more like, it kind of reminds me of Aaron Pico, right? Trayshawn Gore's got all that hype, 3-0. He doesn't have a long career, and you kind of wonder, is the hype real? Well, we'll find out because Brian Battle definitely is real. So. That's going to be a fun fight. Like I said, it's a really good card. Looking forward to that this Saturday night. Before we get out of here, folks, make sure you pay attention. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up on the network. Just put up a new walkout tee for our guy Justin Rolfe, heavyweight boxer out of New England. He's the New England heavyweight champion out there. So check out that. He returns to the ring in March. Of course, Glory's taking place in March. Brandon's still shooting his shot. So hopefully somebody gives him a last second call because I would love to see him go out there and kick somebody's ass. We'll check that out. Brandon, anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here today?
Yeah, man. I don't know if you noticed it, but hey, FFC, they announced their next show, which is going to be in March. And where's it going to be? It's going to be down in Tampa, my guy.
So Rob had said last time, because there was no press passes for last event 100 because of all COVID stuff. He said, don't worry, we're going to be back. And he didn't lie. They're back really quickly. So
that's what I'm thinking. So I'm hoping maybe Fighters First can maybe get some press passes and you could be hanging back there. I know. I don't know if I should announce it or not, but I think one of my teammates is scheduled to be on that card, so we shall see.
Looking forward to it. We'll find out when that event gets closer. I'll definitely message Rob, see what's up with that. I'm a little confused though. Like, what's up with Solomon? He's fighting on LFA. Like, he doesn't want to fight in CFFC. I know him and Rob go golfing. Hey, man. I know they're boys.
Yeah, I just know. He's from the Buffalo area, so I think he wanted to, fight back there. Give them a fight as well. Situation. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of those guys in the regional scene are all free agents. They can sign and fight wherever they want. So maybe he will still pop up in CFFC, or maybe this will be the fight to catapult him finally into the UFC where he belongs. I still haven't even seen Johnny fight the guy he beat.
Johnny Parsons, yeah.
I haven't seen him make his debut in UFC yet either. So we'll see about all that. But that's a wrap, folks. This is Art of MMA. Make sure you check out FightersFirst.shop. Get all the latest merch. Support the show. Support the brand. We're doing bigger and better, and we're doing it only for you. Always Fighters First, so check it out, FightersFirst.shop. For the Mechanic brand of Cuttino, I'm Mike Ginn. This is Art of MMA, and we're out.